JP is getting not one, but two LR EZAs for Tanabata. How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we have the info and the translations for the upcoming LR EZA for JP's Tanabata celebration. That's right, you heard me correctly. For some reason, JP is getting two yellow coin LR EZAs for their Tanabata celebration. So in this video, we're going to break down what they're doing, talk about what it means, and what we think it might mean leading into part 2, and when we might expect to see these guys on global. So let's go ahead and let's hop on in here. Let's take a look at the translations here. So these are from the Dokkan info. Unfortunately, the website is down right now, so I had to screenshot these from someone else. So shout out to Apple for posting this. So we have their attack increased by 177%. We have another key 7 and reduces damage received by 50% for the first turn. After that, he has a chance to perform two additional attacks that have a 50% chance to be a super attack. When HP is 77% or below, he activates an additional super attack with a great chance of becoming a critical hit. And each time he attacks, he increases his key by 1 up to 7 and gets attack and defense 11%, max 77%. Then he gets an additional key 1 every time a super attack is activated, up to 5, and an additional attack defense 20%, up to 100%. That's pretty good. And then he has, for every attack, he also increases damage reduction rate by 17% for the turn. So, honestly, this is looking pretty good, right? The more they're designed to do a ton of attacks, the more attacks you do, the more powerful they become. I kind of like that. So, I mean, it just means that they're going to get stronger no matter how you use them. So, I really do like that. So, their active skills, same as it was before, because they don't change active skills. It gives them key 7 and defense 77% and performs critical hit, and it can be activated after performing 4 or more super attacks. Now, that was always rather difficult for them in the past, except in super long events, but with the amount of additional attacks they're doing, they're going to see that quite often. Now, the thing I'm unsure, there's no comma here, so I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure the defense 77% is for the rest of the battle, not just for the turn. I think the critical hits are just for the turn. The defense 77 is permanent, so it's actually pretty good. And right, when we look at their stats here, so shout out to Halvard for posting the stats already, we can kind of see what we're looking at, right? So start of turn, they're just below the 200k mark. Obviously, you're not going to be throwing them in slot 1, but if they manage to proc all of those additional attacks, they're going to be looking really solid here. Up to, like, if you get all 4 super attacks, you're looking at upwards of 700k with, right, 17% damage reduction times 4, right? So that's going to take just about everything outside of a type disadvantage super. So I mean, in my opinion, that's pretty good, all things considered. It fully built up 788, I think is what they get, but then they've got a pretty good start of turn. Now, obviously, what Halvard's calc isn't affecting in here is the fact that you might be running them on a team with, say, like 17 in Universe 7, which is going to shoot these numbers up astronomically high due to their crazy support. So expect to see that their max defense in that scenario actually a lot higher than what you're looking at here, to be completely honest. So honestly, I mean, it's in my book that's it. They're solid. And right, looking at the amount of multiplicative attack stats that are happening here, right, you're talking about fully built up. They're going to be hitting some numbers. I think they might even eclipse. I'll have to see them in game, but I do think they might even eclipse 17 in Universe 7 and their attack, right? So honestly, this is pretty good. So let's go ahead and now let's talk about what this means for the rest of the Tanabata celebration. So now, with the Tanabata celebration, we do have Universal Survival Saga as the theme, and a lot of people were assuming Jiren was the next LR to happen over here as the part 2. And I mean, I'm not entirely opposed to it, but there was something that stood out to me here, and I want to talk about this, right? So we head on over to Proton 10MG here, so shout out to this guy. In the latest data download on JP Dokkan, if we take a look here, they're adding background music for the Super Broly movie and the superhero theme. Now, that might just be because of the Tanabata banner, but it could also mean that Part 2 is not Universal Survival Saga related, but instead some type of superheroes celebration. Could make sense. Superheroes does seem to be the category of the year, and if we look right, if we use Tech UI as our jumping off point, right, his main leads are Universal Survival Saga, Realm of Gods, and Entrusted Will, right? And if we look at superheroes, right, that obviously covers a lot of Universal Survival Saga characters. There isn't much that they could fill in for a part 2 outside of like a new transforming Evolution Blue Vegeta. Actually, that could make sense. That would still fall under the Universal Survival Saga part of the theme, as well as, fitting the superhero theme. But one thing I did notice is that UI leads Entrusted Will, and the Gammas actually here are on the Entrusted Will category. So I thought that was interesting. It could mean that there could be some correlation to the superhero film, seeing as there was that background music change. Could mean nothing, could mean just that we are getting background music to coincide with the Tanabata banner. Realistically, right, the Jiren would, I think, be the most likely outcome, but I did just want to kind of throw that out there, that did stand out to me as something interesting. It's kind of random. And but Jiren does seem to be the most likely outcome. Tanabata's past have always had the opposite of the main LR. I mean, I guess, except last year where they decided to go with Omega instead of Baby. But it's usually the opposite, the main LR, the part 2, right? The year of Gogeta, it was Janemba, Vegeta and Trunks, Fusion Zamasu, right? And so on. It's usually the case, right? When it was the Go Bros, we got the Broly. It's usually the case. So I think it's a safe bet to see Jiren, and it might also be a safe bet to see that we get the EZA, the LR Jiren added as well, right? With Topo having received a Dokkan Fest, right? They could very easily slot into a more Defenders of Justice category set up for the team rather than special pose. So I mean, definitely could see something like that happening. I just wanted to throw out the superhero a little bit there. Now, as far as when this could happen for global, now we all know that Global Dokkan dropped Buhan and Super Vegito rather early on global as part of the Golden Week celebration. It makes sense. Golden Week was Majin Buu Saga themed. Why not give us those major EZAs then? But what that meant is right now there is no part EX EZAs anymore. Super Buu and Buhan rather, and Super Vegito gone with the wind. It's possible we could see this 17 in Universe 7 and this Golden Frieza and 17 get their EZA in the last part of the anniversary. It would still fit the superhero theme of the 9th anniversary, and it just gives us one less thing that they got to worry about piecing in the major celebrations. It's a possibility. It's not likely, but it is there, right? That they could slot these two in to make up for the lost 2 EZAs at the end of the celebration. They will do something to make up for those stones. They're not going to leave us high and dry. So whatever that something is, maybe it's these 2 EZAs and we can get them a little early. They'll work fine enough on the superheroes team. Obviously 17 and Universe 7 want to be more on a Universal Survival Saga, but by the end of the anniversary with all the EZAs, you can more than easily build that team around them with just having someone like the Gammas or a beast as lead, so it'll work out. So guys, that is it for our video. That is the details for Frieza and 17. They are incredibly good. Another great addition to the Reps of Universe 7 team. Now, if we could just get a top leader that allows you to run 2 of them easily, we will be set in stone for this to be one of the top teams in the game. So that's it for the video, guys. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let us know, what are your thoughts on 17 and Frieza's EZA? I think they're pretty good, but I'm curious what you think. Let us know in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.